Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Scarlet and Great podcast. Johnny here with my co-host, the People's Champ, Florida, Wilson, Cory Thompson, hidden behind the privacy fence there. If you're joining us on YouTube, please remember, join us, like, and subscribe on YouTube. Leave us a comment down here on the YouTube channel. And for those of you just streaming via iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, however, welcome aboard. And leave us a review on iTunes because we want to start reading some of those. Hey, Cory, that is one thing we forgot in show prep. If you want to pull up a good iTunes review while I'm going through all this and read one off here shortly throughout the show, that would be awesome. But I do want to encourage you guys, remember to subscribe to all those platforms. We love the interaction, and also stand by for our pregame and postgame shows that we do on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube Live. If you can join any of those via the YouTube channel, that would be awesome. Leave us comments on YouTube. That really helps us promote the platform in a way that is free for you. Got a good game to recap. We finally had a football game, and it feels like forever. It feels really rusty doing this. And you got the Sparta game to recap, and it's the official kickoff of Hate Week. So, Cory, are you feeling? I know it's not your normal Thanksgiving week, Hate Week, but it kind of feels good. It feels good to hate again.
I always hate, so it's really no different for me.
If you got hate in your heart,
I
you
just
let
hate.
it out.
I'll find something to hate. I'll walk across like a pond and hate the turtle or something. I don't care.
I wish you could have been in the military with me. Then you'd have been great. They say it runs. Yeah. They say it runs off of, hate and caffeine.
That's true. Oh, I got the caffeine part down too, so we're good. Look,
I would think a contractor's life in Florida is similar, right? Do you also run off of hate and caffeine?
Hate, caffeine, and meth. That's Florida.
McDonald's flavored meth.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, those French fries, meth, they're just addictive. But anyway. I don't feel the hate for the team up north right now because we don't even know if we're going to have a game. We got some news today from Pete Thamel that looked pretty good, that they're starting to do limited practices. But, I mean, they're down to the third-string quarterback, Danny Vianelli or whatever the heck his name is, because Cade McNamara's hurt, and there's rumors going around, courtesy of James Yoder, by the way, that Joe Milton is not very happy with the program at the moment. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but
maybe the program's not happy with him.
But I wouldn't be, and because a quarterback, when they get benched, you expect them to be kind of gracious about it, not happy about it, but gracious enough to the player in front of them and say, "Look, you got to still be a teammate and help your brother." But supposedly, I don't want to put this, write it on a pen or write it on ink. He's not real happy about being benched and not being a team player about it. I don't know. But they'll be down to a third string, basically almost walk-on type quarterback. Watch him be a Joe Montana against us, of course, because that's just how it goes. But, and I mean, do they really even want to play the game? Do they want to come into Columbus? I believe Harbaugh is a competitive guy. All the flaws aside, I don't believe there's a single coach in football that's like, I don't want to play. I just don't.
Brown wants to play. Don Brown's like Captain America getting his, before he got the super soldier serum, getting his butt kicked in the alley. Don Brown get back up.
I can do this all day.
Yeah, he's had a year to lick his wounds. He can, so then he can do it all day. He reminds me of the little kid in the video that's getting hit with the squirt gun, though, after enough crossing routes. Stop, no.
Except Ryan Day's packing more than a squirt gun. So,
yeah. But, no, you're right. They want to play. Some of them. Now,
there might be a few players that are saying, what's the point? But
that would be kind of indicative of their culture, right?
Yeah. I mean, the coaches, I'm sorry. You're not going to, unless you come up with emails and text messages of Harbaugh saying, I don't want to play, you're not going to get me to believe he doesn't want to play.
Now, he is many flaws, non-competitive is not one of them. And I certainly think they want to. Now, interesting theory, supposedly they're going to re-sign him here at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And, someone might say, I had it put to me this way: the university can only handle so much embarrassment in 1 week. So why re-sign him and then play the game? Why re-sign?
When you're 30-point underdog, yeah.
Why re-sign him and then go show in front of the world, national television, why you shouldn't have re-signed him. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go re-sign him for a bunch of money and then go show how incompetent he is. That's in it. But he'd be the first one.
But that's the thing with the third string QB. He kind of has a built-in excuse now, doesn't he?
Oh, I'm going to be getting so many good delusional fan of the week segments. We're going to probably do a couple this week. Yeah, we got some to do this week. And I'm going to bring you in on some of them just because
I want in.
It's too juicy not to share.
Yeah.
Because it's going to give people, they're just going to forget all this 2-win stuff and be like, well, third string quarterback against Ohio State. And like,
they'll be the ones saying, remember Cardale Jones?
Yeah, or he third string quarterback. That's why he lost. Okay, why did he lose the 6 other games? COVID. Oh, no one else was dealing with it. So, anyways, Michigan's a different show. That's a different show. Let's get into Sparta, Corey.
Sparta.
Pretty good game.
This is not Sparta.
All right, let's get into the Buckeyes' offensive performance against Sparta. All right, Corey, the rushing we kind of knew this wasn't going to be a down the field passing game, right?
I didn't know what to expect, to be perfectly honest. I mean,
you even said in the pregame show, like, for Ohio State, long developing pass plays.
Oh, well, that was when we found out that there were going to be a bunch of players.
Yeah,
exactly.
And we knew
that was a little scary, though.
Yeah, and we knew. So, okay, quick throws, some more rushes. Dennis Tate Thompson came in on the show and said they're going to run Fields more.
For all you don't know, that's my pops. Yeah,
I didn't know if you wanted. You want to edit that?
Just don't judge me by everything he says.
No, and a loyal listener of the show, really good listener of the show. No, he called it, slam dunk.
He said 15 carries for Fields, and he ended up with 13.
Yeah, and probably 10 of them, probably eight of them probably by design, which is. Or maybe more, maybe 10 of them by design. And
you can't tell on some of those, to be honest with you. I mean, some of them, he ran pretty quick on a couple pass plays, and you're thinking, was that by design, or is it just a one read and go? I don't know.
Or did you know that you had 3 starters out on the O-line? And
we had to the internal clock was a little faster.
Yeah. And look, this rushing attack for a team that couldn't run the ball with some starters out, couldn't run the ball early in the season, you start the game and you say, okay, we're going to have Fields or Teague take the ball at the 22, get contacted in the backfield, break open, get contacted at the 10, and get taken down at the quarter-yard line. And then he kind of sputters the run game, and then insert Fields on some runs that go excellently, and then insert Sermon has a breakout game, and has 2 really nice runs. And finally, for the first time as a Buckeye, he did what he used to do against Oklahoma and make people miss in the open field when there's no reason they really should have missed, because he's got that weirdness about him. Like, you didn't do anything particularly quick.
I don't think he was thinking as much as he usually does. I think he's starting to get used to this offense. And you know what, Johnny, I noticed from Indiana to Michigan State, which was 3 freaking weeks. We went with Teague, had a big game against Indiana, then Sermon had a big game against Michigan State. Now we're starting to figure out, I think, our guys are very different, Sermon and Teague, and sometimes styles make fights, and sometimes it's just Teague's kind of ball game, sometimes it's Sermon's kind of ball game, and we can go with the hot hand. And that is so big that we're starting to figure that out, because this is only the 5th game. Normally, we wouldn't even be halfway into the season. Now we're almost towards the end of the season, and we've had a time to figure it out. And so I think we're starting to figure that out. But not only the addition of Fields actually running the ball obviously helps.
And you can't do that with our depth. But like, this was a game like you have to do it.
Oh, well, the way our offensive line was, you had to, yeah. But I will say the offensive line held up extremely well for what they were given, So
yeah, and I thought and to your running back point, Corey, I think it's look, Master Teague had an 11-yarder called back from a weak.
That was a really weak
holding penalty. And for that matter, Garrett Wilson had a touchdown called back for a really weak
holding call. Yeah.
But if you put 11 more yards on one carry on Teague, and then you're right about styles make fights, except neither one of our fighters Style is a long developing play to the outside. Neither one of them are put your foot in the ground and just blow you off the line. Long developing run play. Stop calling it. Kevin Wilson, I know you like it. Stop calling it. We don't have the O-line. We don't have the perimeter blocking. We don't have the running backs for a long developing run play. Stop calling it. You're not doing Sermon any favors with it. You're not doing Teague any favors.
Seems like the quick hitters are the better bet, obviously.
Hand the ball to Teague. He's shown he can. He's not good at making people miss, but in the backfield, it's the best he is at making people miss. And then if you get Sermon with his elusivity out at the second level, you've seen what he can do. Just go. And then Justin Fields freezing the defense on Sermon's touchdown. You saw where the linebacker crashed down, but didn't quite commit because Justin Fields might pull that thing. Yep. Kind of reminds you of J.K. Dobbins' big run on Clemson. Remember, the end didn't quite pinch all the way. If you freeze that play, Corey, on film, and you either have a linebacker or a DN about to collapse, but he waits, and then the O-lineman just runs, you freeze that play, it looks like there is no earthly way that the defender doesn't make that tackle. It looks like there's
more often than not they crash and we get caught in the backfield. Right? Yeah.
But when you pause, then you hit play, and it's like running back just.
But that's all, and you also got to credit Sermon for not hesitating. It's like, no, just go.
Yeah, if he splits, that's a no gain. If he and that's our game. And look, we're figuring it out. And like you got here, Corey, some rushing stats. 12 first downs
off of rushes. 12 first downs. Yep.
12 rushing first downs.
26 total, but yeah.
For a team with O-lineman out that isn't particularly good at running the ball, I mean, I'll take that. I'll take that. Yeah. I
actually think the more impressive one is 322 total rushing yards versus 81, 6.7 yards per rush versus 2.9. I mean, we completely dominated the run game, and we've done that 2 games in a row now. That's big. And I pointed out
doing it against Indiana is one thing, but this doing it 2 weeks in a row with Becca, I mean, we're on to something. I think we're on to something.
Yeah, and Michigan State's not a bad run defense. They're not, like I said in the last podcast, they're not 85 Bears, but they're solid. They were allowing like 3.4 yards per carry before that. Now, granted, the Fields rushing obviously, affects those stats quite a bit. But the fact is like Teague was not having a great day. I think he was like 14 carries for something like 46 yards, and Sermon averaged 11.5 yards a carry. Again, going back to who's got the hot hand, we can do that now. We're starting to get to that point where who's got the hot hand, go with them. And then it was actually a more even split in the run game this time, especially with Fields running the ball a bit more. Because, I mean, in the Indiana game, it was Teague 25 and Sermon 9. It was a big difference. In this game, it was Teague 14, Sermon 11. Of course, throwing Fields 13 there. So it really Fields more ate into Teague's carries than what Sermon did. Yeah. But, again, it's an even split pretty much for the most part. And you're back to running back 1A, 1B rather than, okay, Teague's the guy. Because Teague was not having a lot of impact on this game. But again, this isn't Teague's type of game, especially with the 3 offensive linemen out. If Sermon was ever going to break out with his wiggle that he has, it was going to have to be today or be Saturday, and he did. So
I'm kind of under the belief. I think Teague had a great first quarter, and then he sputtered. I think either Teague or Sermon would both look great if they got 20 carries a game. Either of them would. But it's one of those things. As running backs, you got to get better. You got to get the time. We're trying to get carries to both guys, and it's hard, to do. I think Trey Sermon would look better than he has all season if he would have been the marquee guy. I'm not saying he should have been. I'm just saying if Master Teague wasn't there, Sermon would look better. I think Teague would look better if Sermon weren't there, but we found the right split. And again, I think, Teague starts getting some momentum. He picks up an 11-yard game, weak holding call. And that was pretty much the game for him. Best runner of the day, CJ Stroud, 48 yards a carry.
Second best runner in Ohio State history. Yeah.
Besides Teague, I
love the story behind that. I think it's accurate. I don't know if 100%. I don't know if it was 11 Warriors or somebody permitted that he was supposed to just hand the ball off. He said, "Screw this," and saw touchdowns.
Wow. Besides Teague's 3.3 yards a carry, no one averaged less than 5.6 a carry.
Yeah, and Teague, it wasn't his day. I'm not claiming that, it needs to be Sermon. That'd be stupid after the Indiana game where Teague went off. I mean, I'm at the point now where I think Jay Book, I'm going to put the tweet up here. Jay Book shows, to his credit, Jay Book of 247 Sports showed that Sermon's average is getting better each game. I go back to when we had Zach Smith on the show. I was saying, look, I just think he needs time in this offense. He didn't get a normal offseason. We didn't get 4 crap games to learn the offense. I mean, one of them wouldn't be a crap. Oregon would not have been a crap game, but although Oregon losing is kind of funny because they were saying, we're going to kill Ohio State. Y'all are lucky. Yeah, okay. We'd have beat them by 17 points. I don't care. That being said, I just think he's finally finding his groove in this offense. It's a different style offense. And Johnny, to make your point, he's playing better defenses than he's ever played week to week. So I just think it took time to find his groove. He's starting to find it. Now we'll know if it's Michigan or if it's Maryland, whoever we play this week, if he can continue that growth. But it's kind of sad we don't get a regular season with him and a regular offseason with him, because I still think he could have been a really special running back. Not J.K. Dobbins, but a really solid special running back for us until to kind of hold the mantle until guys like Henderson and Pryor show up. Although I got to say this, I'm not going to count out Mayan Williams anymore. That guy had a few little surprises about him. So.
It was like he was kind of the runner we thought he could be best case scenario in a couple years. It's like he was there already.
Yeah.
Because
people are saying Carlos Hyde. I don't know if I'd go that far yet, but I could see the similarities a little bit.
Yeah, it's like you take a guy who's 3 stars, not terribly athletic or terribly big, but he all of a sudden gets some bounce and some jitterbug about him, and some sturdiness, and he did. And look, I can't speak to the depth of Michigan State's players at the time, right? Like I don't. We ran pretty easily on him when they knew we were going to ran. It makes me think they might have had some backups in, but it looked impressive. And obviously Steel Chambers, got 1 carry, 8 yards. Overall, you have to say for 3 starters being out, the rushing totals are fantastic. 322 yards. You did get 48 of them there at the end by Braxton Miller, Jr., CJ Stroud. But hey, and again, now let me clarify. Jeez, you guys are making me do this. No, I don't think CJ Stroud is a Braxton Miller type of quarterback. I know the recruiting. You guys can't let me have any fun. You knew what I was saying, Corey. I was making a joke because he had a 48-yard run.
I thought you were serious, to be honest.
I can't.
I don't trust your knowledge of recruiting anymore.
No, Stroud's a pocket passer. He won the Elite 11.
The thing about Stroud is he can do either or. That's why he's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, but he was still never.
I felt bad for Miller. All right, we got to address this. I felt bad for Miller. Gets his drive in there, and Luke Whippler just way over the head on the snap.
Oh yeah, it's almost.
And everybody, the saddest part is everybody said it was Miller, and I'm like, no, Whippler was in the game at the time, but Miller, I don't blame you for thinking it was Miller, because the way I'll tell you, that was Tony Gerdeman. Tony Gerdeman, God bless you. You had the best statement where it's Fields catching all these goofy snaps is his Heisman moment.
Well, I do want to get into that. Fields is technically an offensive player. Actually, let's say that. I think this was his Heisman game, but it won't go down as the Heisman moment because of lack of other
touching the Heisman this year.
Lack of games and the Indiana game. And Corey, you and I both know under the circumstances, herky-jerky, cancel, don't cancel.
Yeah.
Even though Michigan State's is a below-average team, with the people being out and the way he handled what he had to handle, it wasn't eye-popping to just do the simple things we talk about. Reed's not there, pull down, run. I thought his big zone read play was an awful read, but great athleticism. Yeah. But it's great athleticism. It worked. It was Braxton Miller's big plays. I don't think were always great reads. I know the guy's not crashing, but I'm better than him. I can get around him.
Mm-hmm.
And he did all these little. is perfectly what we said against Indiana, right? Play's not there. I reset. I move off my spot. The play's still not there. Just get down and go. And in this game, Corey, he didn't try to be Superman because it's like he had a little bit of NFL QB in him. Throwing the ball away on third down is not an awful thing. You know why? We'll punt and get the ball back. We'll punt and get the ball back. This is not a great team, so we can punt and get the ball back. But I know no one expects me to be Superman with these linemen in this game. So let's just take what's there. And what happens when you just take what's there? You look up and you have 52 points on the board.
Yep.
When you just take what's there and don't force it, you end up. You ever have those games playing Madden, Corey, or NCAA football, and you're like, I'm just going to throw. I'm not going to really try to force it down. I'm just going to throw what the defense gives me. If they blitz them, I'll throw to a vacate spot. And you look up and you have 322 yards, and you're like, I feel like I've been dinking and dunking, but I'm 20 for 23.
That was Tom Brady's career, to be honest with you. It was just like,
take what they give you. Take what they give you. Make 5 throws a game that are unbelievable, and make 18 throws a game that are
easy.
routine.
Yeah. No, I agree. I did that in Madden all the time to my friend. I used to tick him off his hook patterns. You ain't stopping it. I'm just going to keep throwing hook patterns. You know?
And you look up in your stat line. And you look up and your stat line makes it look like you were forcing it down the field.
It's like 430 yards, 6 touchdowns. Like, how in the world? But,
it's like, how am I averaging 9 yards an attempt? You're dumping it to the flat. Well, yeah, but that's the play. I'm getting a lot of yards after. It's just, and that's what he did this game. Handling the bad snaps, making 4 yards happen with his legs. Instead of 2nd and 12, we were in 2nd and 6. Right? He just did all those little things so good that I think this was his Heisman moment. That won't be a Heisman moment because it doesn't eye pop enough.
And it's not against a great team. That's another problem there. But I still maintain he put the team on his shoulders at first and said, all right, well, we're down 3 linemen. We don't really know what our offense is going to look like with Max Ray and DeJuan Jones is starting and Harry Miller at center. I think the comment of the day, I really wish I could remember who said it. He tweeted it at me. Is like Ryan Day said that playing quarterback at Ohio State, it's like being shortstop the New York Yankees. And this gentleman responded to me, well, I think he could play shortstop the way he was catching those snaps. So.
But people actually care about Ohio State football is the only difference.
That's true. Baseball is not important.
He did great, and I think this was his. I will say this: hats off to Ryan Day and Corey Dennis for whatever they got into Justin Fields' head before they weren't allowed to talk to him anymore, and then hats off to the staff that was left to have it in his head. Hey, don't try to kill it here. Just move. Just do what you can do.
Hats off to Kevin Wilson. I mean,
he had nothing to do with it. He's a run guy. He don't talk to quarterbacks.
Yeah, he hates quarterbacks. Plus, I hear he's a racist anyway. So.
The offensive coordinator had nothing to do with the quarterback.
By the way.
Now somebody else is out there like, no, he's the offensive coordinator. He's talking straight to Justin Fields. You guys are idiots.
Video of it.
He's in the
headset.
On
the football.
He's in the headset.
Doesn't matter. I gotta wonder how. I know obviously Kevin Wilson had play calling duties with Ryan Day and Corey Dennis gone. Obviously they did like, Kevin, this is all your show, buddy. I wonder how much he like consulted with like Brian Hartline. That must have been a nice learning experience for Brian Hartline if he was actually involved in that. Yeah, I don't know this. I don't know what the answer to that is. I didn't see him talking to Hartline too much. Maybe I missed it. But I just wonder because I know he was on the sideline for that game specifically, and it made sense for him to be on the sideline for that game. Who's upstairs giving him the view from upstairs is an interesting question too. So because I know Hartline was on the sideline yelling at Chris Olave after he got that touchdown for some reason.
I wonder if it's Coach Key.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it's good learning experience for somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Corey. Moving on, the defense. Some key stats from the defense, besides looking like overall improvement, I thought 3.9 yards per play is what they allowed, right? And that doesn't actually sound great, but when you look up and they only put up 12 points against us, and it's 2 of them was off safety from a bad snap. Like, I will live with this defense. And I know Michigan State's not great. by any stretch.
Well, considering we're normally allowing about over 5 yards per play, I think 3.9 is pretty good. So.
Yeah, that is true. That is good context. And honestly, I know Michigan State kind of just is vomit on offense, and it has been for some time. But we at least are getting to the point where we're making bad teams at least be bad instead of bad teams being pretty.
We may have
average.
To Coach Coombs' credit, we may have figured some things out. I'm not saying it's Michigan State, so don't get me wrong. I'm not claiming, it's over. We're good now. I have a serious question. We talked to our buddy Dylan Freeman about it. Like, again, who knows X's and O's, he's a scout. Why in the world were they not throwing the deep ball on us more? Because I swear that was my biggest fear going into that game. I documented that. I was like, gosh, they are so successful this year on the deep ball. Two guys, now granted, Ricky White didn't dress, but two guys who averaged 23 yards a catch. Jalen Naylor's still there. And I don't even remember them really trying it very often. They really tried to dink and dunk us. It's almost like we were more than willing to say, here, you can have the 5 yards or 3 yards or whatever, but we're not giving you that deep ball. And Dylan likes this. Dylan was saying they were disguising some cover 2 in there with the extra safety. And the extra safety, of course, being Ronnie Hickman, which nobody saw. Because I know that Chugs was talking about rumors of Lathan Ransom being the guy and Proctor being the single high. Well, Proctor didn't play. And this is not against Chugs. He actually ended up being right that it was somebody else, but it was just the wrong guy. I'm not knocking Chugs for that. There was rumors going around what was going to happen. And Ronnie Hickman got a lot of play in there with Proctor out. And I think a lot of people thought Ransom would be the next, obvious guess. But Hickman doesn't get mentioned. But I got to say, Johnny,
I forgot we had him.
I kind of like him. I thought he played pretty well. And I thought Hooker had his best game of the year. And especially that pass breakup in the end zone. And I kind of wondered, why are we protecting downfield better now? And obviously some cover 3 zones and stuff like that. But I think Dylan was saying we're disguising some cover 2s with our cover 3s, getting both safeties back to take that away, and allowing the linebackers to play a little bit more in coverage. And it looked like even on that play where Sean Wade had the pick, which we'll talk about in a minute, like the linebacker didn't quite get far back enough for the zone. That's why the guy was open. But again, Randy, I'm sorry. I wasn't blaming Sean for that, if you're listening. But if you're mad at me for whatever reason. But yeah, it was kind of curious. That's what Dylan was saying. We're kind of disguising a little bit. Now, we watched the game again. It's kind of hard to see from the TV angle, especially ABC's coverage, because their camera work was dog crap. It was horrible. So we don't have the actual game film. I love it when people say, I watched the film. No, you didn't. You watched the TV coverage.
Yeah, did you see what the safeties were doing? Because I didn't. Because
I did my best. And yeah, it's like I saw Ronnie have to come back into the box from deep a few times. So my guess is
that means he was out. Yeah, where he was,
exactly.
He's covered 2 a little.
But he's got a lot of speed to do that. That's the thing. Ronnie is a great athlete. I don't know if people don't realize that.
The play, I didn't realize it until the play where there was a catch in the middle of the field and he just sprinted up and made the tackle. And I was like, who is that young man?
Redshirt freshman, came off a knee injury. I mean, he's good. Man.
I was like, that is explosion from the secondary that I've not yet.
He's got to see the field more. He has to from here on out. He has to rotate with somebody.
Is he our Brendan White now?
He almost was. I don't know if he quite had the Brendan White type game.
He didn't have that type of game, but I mean, he may be. Is he the guy buried on the depth chart that was good and
that should have been playing? I mean,
yeah.
I did figure one thing down. Now, granted, it might have changed if Proctor was available, but I remember saying in the podcast, I don't see them just dropping Hooker because they obviously in camp for some reason have felt that he was their best option back there. And if Joel Klatt is correct that these things are just fixable, then they're not going to just go away from them. They're going to try to fix it.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to, throw his body in the Everglades because he made a few bad.
Well, he's not from Florida, so it's okay.
Well, I just figured Ryan Day, somebody's got a house down there, whatever,
Ryan Day can make a few phone calls.
Yeah, exactly. People like you.
DeSantis is a mob boss governor. So.
People like you that will do shameful things for $38.
Yeah, well, yeah, for Ohio State, I'll do anything.
Yeah, $38, and I'll do whatever you want.
We don't do cement. We just throw them in the Everglades.
Let the Gators do the work.
You'll never find James Hoffa.
Yeah. So I think the defense, and again, I know it's Michigan State. I think it's probably a little bit of both. They probably just didn't throw the deep ball when they should have, and we probably took it away a little bit,
which is encouraging because that's a good deep ball team.
Take it away in a little bit is better than what we had done previously because we took it away none
0
and then
Yeah.
allowed some more. Like, we won't throw any deep balls against you. Well, we would like it if you threw at least 2. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So, defense. How about Haskell Garrett?
Our best corner.
He's going to be the box safety.
I tell you what, dude, I pray that he and Tommy decide to come back because this, I know it's hyperbole. I get it. They might be the best tandem I've seen in my lifetime at Ohio State at defensive tackle. Tandem. I'm not saying either one of them individually is the best, but the tandem, they're incredible. Nobody can run on it.
I'm trying to think who would be
as a tandem.
Yeah, and I mean, I can say Adolphus Washington is as good or better than both. Jonathan Hankins is as good or better than both, but
Hankins still in the NFL starting.
And we didn't have that. We had neither of them at the same time, did we?
No, we didn't. And we had the closest I can think of is Washington Bennett, our national title year.
Adolphus Washington and Bennett was Bennett the 3 tech?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I probably take this tandem that we have currently.
I think you can put this tandem on any Buckeye team and they'd start. I really do. Because I can't believe Tommy is so dominant in the middle as far as the run game concerned. He gets a lot of pressure up the middle, and Haskell's become a monster.
How's he that much? How does he go from barely getting the rotation? We needed a 3 tech. Jay Sean, I'm gonna get a little nutty here, Corey. It's hard for me to believe that we were so thin at 3 tech last year that we made Jay Sean Cornell the marginally effective 3 tech. Let's just call it for what it was.
Mm-hmm.
In my unexperienced eye, a marginally effective 3 tech. And Haskell Garrett wasn't even as good as him last year. And now he comes in and he looks like Dramont Jones. Yeah. At least.
Maybe better. Yeah.
Yeah, like a different type.
I don't know. Dramont Jones was getting sacks. But I mean,
Dramont's a little more quick twitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Haskell's a little but Haskell is as like dominant.
Well, this is also the first time we haven't had to convert defensive ends to defensive tackle. I mean, these are true defensive tackles we recruited as defensive tackle.
Haskell was on the roster last year. My point is, it makes me wonder if we're still doing a little senior fit. Now, Tommy, I can at least say, well, daggone, Devon Hamilton was awesome, and I can at least say that. It makes me wonder if we're not still doing a little of the senioritis favoritism thing.
Well, Haskell was playing. It wasn't like he never played. He never was this effective as a player. I mean,
what was his snap count last year? Tell me now. What was it?
I don't know what it was. I know he's a rotational guy. I mean, I know he played.
I didn't feel like it was very much though.
Well, even when he did he ever really flash? Not really.
If you're getting, but do you think it was double-digit snaps a game?
I would say it was double-digit snaps.
You think so?
Yeah, I definitely saw 92 out there quite a bit. I actually didn't think he's going to play this year after getting shot in the face. I'm wondering, like, is that is that the secret? If you get shot in the face, you get super good at defensive tackle. I don't.
And maybe it was a case of, look, Devon Hamilton and Chase Young were so daggone good last year that it was hard to look good if you're anybody else. Maybe it's like,
I think it was more of a mortality thing. You get that kind of experience. Maybe you're like, I ain't got, you could go at any time on this plane. I better give everything. Maybe he wasn't quite giving everything until this.
Corey's like, I got shot in the face. Maybe I should try harder at practice. Maybe I should tell my mom I love her.
I ain't going that far, but
maybe I should volunteer in my community. Whoa.
No.
He didn't shoot you in the brain. It's just a jaw. Calm down.
No, but I mean, like,
my goodness, you're a terrible human being.
I am, but maybe I'm just saying, maybe it made him realize his own mortality, and he's like, that could have been 6 inches higher, and I'm gone. So
I'm gonna come shoot you right in the jaw. I bet the humanity would do better.
The podcast would be so much better after I recover.
You'd be a better human. We'd probably attract a more refined listener.
I'd move out of Florida, realizing my mistake. So,
you can start being kinder to animals and children.
My cat's still outside, by the way.
That's Packers fan comes with it.
Yeah. Well, that cat knew what it's getting into. Yeah.
when the animal shelter gives the cat to somebody in a Packers jersey, they know they shouldn't, but they know they don't have room for the cats.
It's either this or death. I don't know.
Euthanization or getting them thrown out the window 12 times on draft day. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Rashawn Gary.
Backup quarterback. First
Darnell Savage, come back in, kitty. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, anything else? Yeah, I do have. You wanted to say a word. Yeah, you did want to say something about you did want to insult the Wade heritage and bloodline.
Dang straight. Now, we've always gotten along good with Randy Wade, haven't we?
Yeah. Randy, I think Randy, if Randy was here, and maybe we can bring him on. I think he would. I think what he would tell you, Cory, is, Cory, you're a good dude. You just kind of caught me at the wrong time because I was on the war.
I know. Look, I understand where he's coming from because let's provide the story real quick. I tweeted out
something about Randy's mom, and then
of course, I mean, duh. That's how I start every tweet, talking about somebody's mom. But no, look when Wade made the pick. Okay. It was a great play by Sean. Don't get me wrong. It was a phenomenally athletic play. And it showed me the Sean that I've always known he is that playmaker guy. He's a playmaker. And he's starting to show that more. He had a good game against Michigan State. Really good game. And he was also co-defensive player of the game with a guy who got a defensive tackle, big man, pick six, so who tipped the ball to himself. And he was co-defensive player of the game with him. That should tell you anything. Sean had a nice game. I think he had a couple pass breakups, of course, the pick at 4 tackles. He played well. And I think if you look at the stats too, he didn't allow very many completions against him. But look, on the play he got a pick. It wasn't because Sean blew the coverage or he just didn't. It was, I think the linebacker we said earlier just didn't get.
No. Rephrase it. I know what you're trying to say. It's going to sound better if you say Sean didn't get the pick because he cut the route off or did something amazing under the route. It was a bad throw.
It was a horrible throw. But I actually tweeted out, "Thank God for a bad pass, LOL." I'll show the tweet.
And you didn't. Yeah, go ahead and show it.
Well, I'll show it. Thank God for a bad pass, LOL, but great play by Wade. And Randy responded to me, "Do you know what a cover 3 is? It's not man." I had to respond.
And you weren't saying, well, I'm thankful that there was a bad pass because Sean really didn't do well.
Exactly.
You were saying thankful for a bad pass because it ended up being an interception.
Well, I'm thankful for a bad pass because the guy
it would have been a completion. Yeah,
the guy was open. It's a high school. A high school quarterback could have made that throw. I could have made that throw, for crying out loud. I mean, it was an easy pass, not because Sean screwed up, just because it was the coverage.
Right.
And I'm not a fan of that style of coverage anyway, but that's what the call was. Sean was in position, and of course, Sean made a phenomenal play off the bad pass. And Randy took it to me like I was ripping on Sean. I love Sean. I even when I criticize him, it's extremely kind criticism. It's not, it's not. I'm never going to rip on. I'm so glad Sean came back. We've been screwed without Sean coming back.
Could you imagine?
Oh, jeez. Especially with Cam Brown going down. Oh my goodness. But I just, but Randy, I will say this in his defense. I understand why he's kind of defensive because people have been just nasty towards Sean.
Right. And I think he just was you were just caught in the storm.
Yeah, I get it.
He saw it and he thought, man, Cory's probably saying what everybody else is saying, and you weren't. Now, and I could see.
The funny part is after that, I actually tweeted out, Wade's having a nice game.
Yeah. And you were like, I didn't say Sean was beat. I said the pass was bad. Because it was a completion. Yeah. And yes, he was asked to play a bail technique, which would have made it difficult to break on that pass.
Of course. The linebacker has to get deeper.
Yeah. Now, do I think that coverage means you absolutely concede that throw as a corner? I don't think so. But I do see how it would make it harder for him to be backpedaling and then break on a slant.
It's a quick pass. It's a quick slant type thing. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. It should have been a completion because any competent quarterback makes that a completion.
Yeah, I mean, just got it was 8 inches too far. I mean, just.
Do you think Fields misses that?
No. Yeah, 14 out of 15 times he hits it. Yeah.
So again, now I will say that Taylor Thorne does look like a better quarterback than Rocky Lombardi, and I've talked to John from East Lansing, who helped me with the prep for the last podcast. That he says Taylor Thorne is the fan favorite. People don't really care for Rocky because he's so up and down, and Rocky's been there forever. And I think there's a little bit of seniority there on their end, not going with the younger guy at this point. And I think at next game, Michigan State, if they have a next game, I don't know who it's against, they really need to just say, let's look at what we got for the future and tell Rocky you're sorry or your time's up, because Rocky was pitifully bad.
Are they giving him the JT Barrett treatment, you think, though, at Michigan State?
That's what I'm wondering. But again, Urban had an attachment to JT because he recruited him. This Tucker don't owe Rocky anything. So I don't know. Rocky, I would say, is just very mediocre at best. And even on his good days, it's like, yeah, it's all right. He had a good day, I guess.
Thorne looks a little more nimble, doesn't he?
Yeah, he can move the ball. He can move. I mean, he can move around a lot more. He looks like he's got that moxie about him. Like, I'm going to challenge you. And
he toyed with Larry Johnson. Was slowly. I'm convinced he would have slowly beat Larry Johnson into submission and made him retire.
That's what Larry's son's been saying for years.
I'm kidding again.
I will say I got ripped on for a tweet I had, and I admit I overstated it. I was getting a little ticked because he was like 8 for 8 or 10 for 10 at one point. I know he was dinking and dunking, but he's also completing a couple first downs. And I'm like, is this what's going to happen? He's going to come and murder our secondary because he's a backup.
Yeah,
it was actually getting. I was getting terrible postpartum from like the Indiana game.
Yeah, no, I was too. Especially after the fumble.
Yeah,
I was just like, here's our annual second
meltdown.
Half
a little bit.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's why I was tweeting out stuff like, Ryan Day is going to be absolutely livid with Larry Johnson for playing full 4 quarters, because we do not do that this year.
This is the first game we've done it this year, and I got hats off to Larry Johnson filling in with 3 or 4 less coaches and 23 less players and just dominating the game. And that's the thing, though. When Ryan Day was out, I don't want Ryan Day to be out, of course, but when they said Larry was going to step in as head coach, I wasn't worried about it. I was like, oh, well, Larry's going to be fine. Larry's been around the block. He knows what he's doing. I mean, if they would have said Corey Dennis is head coach for Day, I've been like, nothing against Corey Dennis, but I'm like, it's like
right.
28.
Yeah, you're like, what exactly? Yeah, I kind of wondered like why Larry, like you obviously haven't promoted. Well, he's associate head coach.
Yeah, for more money.
You don't promote him to the top of the defense, yet you've promoted Kevin Wilson to the top of the offense, and he's not the guy, and he has been a head coach. But and look, I think at this point it's all kind of honorary. And it might be a culture thing, and it might be like, who's Mr. Buckeye on this team? Larry's Mr. Buckeye, and let's get.
From what I understand, I don't know if this is true or not. I think normally the school would award the win to the head coach, even though he was out. But I think they're giving it to Larry Johnson. So
that's pretty awesome.
I hope so. I mean, that's what I through the grapevine heard. I don't know if it's true or not, but I hope that's the case, because I wanted them to carry Larry out on their shoulders. Are you kidding me? Even though it was Michigan State and they blew him out by 40, I was like, no, carry him out. I want to see him carried out on their shoulders.
Give
him the Rudy treatment.
At least dump some cold Gatorade on him in Michigan in December.
They did, yeah.
Did they really?
Yeah, they gave him a Gatorade bath.
Oh, yeah. Nice. So it's okay. Last thing I'll say before we get in the overall game summation.
Mm-hmm.
Next time you're down a center, just play the backup center. Don't play the
Technically,
left
Harry
guard.
is the backup center.
Shut up.
You shut up.
The backup center.
Nobody likes you.
No, he's not the backup center. He's the starting left guard. You can't have 2 number 1s. That makes 11. He is the backup. He is the starting left guard. The backup center is Matt Jones. Matt Jones should be snapping the ball. You know what I think Harry Miller's experience in snapping the ball was? The 15 minutes before the game on the sideline. That was bad, Corey. And I know we've done it in the past where a guy slides from left guard to center in preseason.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'm convinced maybe Harry Miller, they told him he was going to be the center and he kept reading his book or whatever.
He's saving up for his bookstore.
Yeah, just play the backup center.
Wonder if like Ryan Day came to him for a Zoom meeting and said, "You're going to be the backup center." Yeah, coach, but I got a great idea for my bookstore. Tell me,
because look, Harry, I'm ripping on him a little bit. He's shown improvement last game as a left guard.
He actually got a lot of good push in the run game.
He's showing good improvement as a blocker.
Mm-hmm.
let him go be left guard. Put Matt Jones at center.
I don't get it, the Matt Jones thing, because he now I don't see practice with him, but he was the #1 center in the country coming out of high school. I just don't really understand.
He could snap. He could get the ball to the quarterback.
And he played a pretty good game from what I understand. So
like just get the ball. Like the simple part of
on offense now in the defensive segment. But whatever.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say that before we wrap that up.
So well, let's wrap it up. Let's go to the wrap up real quick and we'll talk about it.
All right. Overall game summation. The overall game summation, I'm going to be rarely more positive than I have been with this team. Corey, I know teams improve every week, and I know we said in the pregame show, I don't know if this team is a title team because with all the discombobulation, I almost give them a – look, you're not going to get as good as Alabama, who's playing week in, week out, rain, snow, or shine, dead or alive, no matter the case, COVID, no COVID. Asteroid, no asteroid, they're playing football. You're going to get better each week when you do that. You are going to hit stalls when you run into what the Big Ten is running into. Now, is that an excuse? Yes. But is it true? Yes. So I think that's just what's
for coaches, it's an excuse, but for the rest of us, it's reality. I mean, coaches like this. Coaches like to say that's an excuse. Coach, my leg got broken off by the knee. Well, that's an excuse. Huh?
Well, to me, that's where you and I differ. Excuses are reality. It's a good excuse. Just because it's an excuse doesn't make it a bad one. Like if I say, like, I'm not a millionaire because I was born in a dumpster. Well, it's an excuse. It's a good one, but it's still an excuse. Like, is the absence excused or unexcused? It was a good excuse or a bad excuse. Now, I think this time we have a decent excuse, right? Well, we're getting our games canceled every other week, right? Like, we're not going to be as good as the team who gets to play week in, week out. Now, like you said, to a coach in the locker room before the week before the game, if we're in the playoff, they're going to say none of that matters. Yeah. And the referees and the other team ain't going to play you any easier because you didn't get, this is the real world. You got to make so yada yada.
I do agree with you on that. It's right. The coach's job to make sure that they don't have it in their head. It's like,
that's how they're going to frame it. Yeah, that's how they're going to frame it. But anyways, Corey, playing a below average team when this team has struggled with letting teams hang around that shouldn't.
Rutgers is a prime example.
Rutgers being up a ton on Indiana, who's a good team, but still let them back in the game more than they should have.
Talent-wise, they should have beat Indiana by 3 touchdowns. I'm sorry.
All those things.
And Dan Dakich, no, Indiana's not better than Ohio State, you moron.
Yeah, just Indiana made too many mistakes. Yeah, because Ohio State didn't make any.
Indiana caused those mistakes. That's because they're the better team.
And I'm sure there's other, like Nebraska, first half wasn't really clicking yet, wasn't all there. Who was game 2, Corey? Was game 2 Rutgers?
No.
Game. It's just been such a dysfunctional season.
I can't remember game 2 at this point.
Wow. We beat Nebraska, and then we play.
Oh, Penn State.
Penn State. We didn't play complete game. Penn State. Let them have a few plays at the end.
They won the second half.
Yeah. So, look, it's this team though. If you said, I'm gonna put this is what this team was supposed to be. If I said, remember, this team was supposed to be Team 1A or 1B in the country. Yeah. That's who you picked.
Right now they're 2 or 3 because Alabama is 1.
Right. But if you would have said Team 1A, 1B, playing in a below average Michigan State team, down 5 starters, 3 of which are on the offensive line, how should you beat that team? And I would say, if you're still 1A or 1B, 40 points. And what did they do? They beat them by 40 points.
I was prepared to say, just beat them. I was saying just win.
Right. That's what you and I were thinking. This is a team that's not completing full games yet. They're not playing their potential. And they're down some starters. So honestly, like if you could give me a 14 to 17 point win, I'd probably walk away with it. Like, yeah, it's kind of what I expected. You did it by 40 with all these things against you. I'm prepared to say, Corey, and I don't know exactly how good Clemson is or isn't. I'm ready to put them back to fight for that 2 spot and put them back to where they are. Like this is rare optimism from Johnny. This is what the team was supposed to be. Take the play that's there and don't make stupid mistakes. And they made limited mistakes and took what was there. And you look up and you win by 40-some points. And again, I know this isn't a great team, but I was more pleased with this.
If you're a great team, you're supposed to beat the not great teams by a good number of points on their field. And granted, it's not technically, I mean, it's technically a home game, but home games aren't the same this year. I get that.
Yeah.
But it's on their field. They just beat Northwestern, but they pulled another Iowa. You know, they just, the very next game, they just didn't show up hardly, because I'm still shocked at, like, I didn't expect their offense to light us up. I even told John before the game, you're not running on us. Forget it. You're not going to run the ball on us. And they didn't. And it was they only had 81 yards, 2.9 yards per carry. Our run defense has been stellar, absolutely stellar. It isn't showing up necessarily in the rankings necessarily, but last couple games, you can't argue with our run defense. But that being, because the argument was our run game was starting to find its way. And,
this is more validating than stopping Indiana in the run game, because
of course, Indiana's a high flying pass team.
Yeah, they don't believe in running the ball.
No, but they did enough against Wisconsin. They ran the ball better against Wisconsin than they did us. So
then I think probably anybody. They were averaging less than 3 yards a carry for the season coming into our game.
Yeah, they weren't tearing anybody up, but their pass game was elite. So not without panics, but still. Either way, you know, I get this win an A-, and I tell you, the only thing I take out, Olave needs to take care of the ball better. That's one thing. And I will say, but you know, it's hard to, that's really the only knock I have on, they had one bad series, one bad drive. It's really on defense. And it's really the only thing I can knock on this team on this game is just to take care of the ball a little better. Everything else is fine. All things considering, if you didn't fumble those 2 balls, probably A+, because all things considered, because you lose your 2 top tackles and your top backup tackle. Maybe, I don't know, DeJuan Jones is probably the top backup tackle, but Paris Johnson would have been starting if he was available in front of Ray. And Ray, special shout out to Max Ray. He's been there and never, I thought he'd transfer last year. He's never seemed like he was going to get on the field. His first time getting major reps in a key game, and he held his own pretty solidly. So I thought props to him.
Yeah. I'm going to just come out and say it. And honestly, I can't tell if Olave alligator armed that deep ball or if Justin Fields overthrew it, or a little bit of both, because that would have been another touchdown. Garrett Wilson's callback, another touchdown. You put all that together, Justin Fields' stat line, instead of looking like what he threw for like 200 and ran for 100 or something.
Yeah.
Then he goes to like
303 total yards. Yeah.
Then he goes to like 300 and 100 probably, or close to it.
Yeah.
So
maybe with instead of 4 touchdowns, like 5 or 6. So
yeah, I think I'm willing to say this is his best game because of what he did with what he had, and
his willfulness to run it is changing our offense a little bit. So and it wasn't his best game passing. Like there was the Penn State game.
Completed
70%.
Right? No, I'm just saying the other games made you drop your jaw sometimes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This one didn't do that, but for what it was in context, I was probably most pleased with him. And honestly, I'm going to say this. I was most pleased with the team this game more than it was any other game of the year. This was A- is higher than I give any other grade. Like you say, A-, I'll live with that. That's higher than I give any other grade. So all things considered, I think Justin Fields is an alpha, solidified as an alpha. And should be in the Heisman contention because of this game. Don't care if he doesn't win it. His name should be brought up because of this game, because it was such an underwhelming masterpiece. It was a dull masterpiece.
It's a painting that's not appreciated at the time, but down the road, everybody starts to see the value.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. And I'll admit, yes, I'm more impressed if Mac Jones throws 500 yards or 400 yards or whatever. I get that. I'm just saying, for what this was I'm
not
really
impressed
cool.
when you do it against LSU. But
yeah, well, I mean, I'll take 400 yards against anybody, but I get what you're saying. For what this was, I'm really happy. For what this was, this gives me a little bit of hope.
Because this is actually a Braxton Miller type game for
Fields.
For Justin,
I would say this gives me some hope that this team has it in them to improve enough to maybe win the title. To improve They must improve, and then it's a maybe. I'm not saying they're going to go beat Bama.
I think if you add Fields rushing, he becomes that. He becomes a different. He ascends above other quarterbacks when he allows himself to use his feet a lot more.
Yeah,
because he has something that Trask, even to a degree, Lawrence can run a little bit. Obviously, we saw against Ohio State, but Lawrence and Jones he can run, and he can run consistently, and he's very athletic, and he needs to use that more. Even though it takes away from his passing just a little bit, he needs to use that more as a weapon because it opens up our run game a lot.
Yeah, I would rather see him throw the 300 yards, but just a few more timely carry. Like, don't take the sack, go get 4 yards. Keep the zone. Learn how to do the zone read for one, and keep it a few more times. Open up the run game.
JT needs to be our zone read coordinator.
He really does. And then you go to where you're possibly having 300 yards passing and 50 yards rushing, and you gave Teague and Sermon both a yard more per carry because you opened everything up, and then you got
then our time of possession increases, our scoring efficiency increases. And,
you got it. You got it. And that's what I'm saying. Now this team is within striking distance of a championship. They have to improve, and then it's still a maybe.
And hopefully if the defense builds off this. Yeah.
Yes. Week
go
before I would have said, well, people are like, you're just going to go get blown out by Alabama. I'm like, yeah, but so will everybody else. We're still top 14.
We're not getting blown out by Alabama. We're not going to necessarily beat them. We're not getting blown out by them.
Yeah, they're within They're within spitting distance now if they continue this.
I will say if Combs made the adjustment, like Dylan said, if he did, I can't say for sure. I can't see the film. If he did make those disguises in the cover 2 to help out Hooker and give him a better make him make better decisions, put him in better positions to make better decisions. As much as we've cut on Combs, we have to give him that credit. Say at least he's learning.
Right. Again, better late than never.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, it was only 4 games as a play caller. Can we? Can we at least? I was telling people, can we give him some time? I mean, my goodness, it's a weird year, but if he did that, I would hope the fan base could say maybe Combs is starting to come into his own a little bit. Maybe it's Michigan State. Who knows? Just put it in your head that maybe
we're not ready to cut ties with him.
Oh my goodness! If people want to fire him already, I just give up.
I mean, look, yeah, I think if Ryan Day though would have fired him after the Indiana game, I would have said, you know what I'd have said? Rosy cheeked assassin. I trust Ryan Day.
I would
have said Nick Saban would have done it. Nick Saban won a lot of titles. So cool. But I'm with you that, like, can we give him some time? Can we be like, I'm also on that board. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Ryan
also
Day didn't fire on those, so you got to still go rosy cheeked assassin. Maybe he sees something we don't.
Right. You know? Yeah. I was like, maybe I need to not go scorched earth on this. But overall, look, if Combs gets a game better for this game, a game better for the national championship game, and Wade gets 2 games better, or Big Ten championship game, sorry. Wade gets 2 games better. Hooker gets 2 games better. Banks gets 2 games better. Hickman gets 2 games better. Proctor gets 2 games better. Then I think you're in spitting distance of a title then.
I really hope we get the shot to go against Bama because Bama is the alpha right now in college football. I will not deny that. Anybody wants to at Scarlet Great CT, if you want to message me or engage with me on timeline and tell me differently, I'm going to disagree with you.
And you know what? I would think it'd be awesome. And I know you and I may disagree with this, or disagree. You may disagree with me on this. I would love to have a really good showing the next 2 weeks and get the 3 spot. I don't know if they give it to us because of lack of games, but Clemson does have a loss. The 3 spot, and then you get another game to get, because I think we would agree this team, the more games they play, is actually better for them.
No, I actually do agree with you. I think that's fine. Go against Notre Dame.
Well, because you're usually like, I'll play the Chiefs tomorrow. We're Ohio State, and I'm not one bit scared. Not even
I'm nervous. Not, but that being said,
crazy. The Chiefs would murder this team.
Of course, the Chiefs would murder us. I just still like to play them. But that being that
you remember what last year felt like, Corey? Do I need to remind you?
I want to play Clemson 3 times in a row in the playoff. Are you kidding me? That being said, look, the reason why I agree with you this year is we need more games. And that's your point is valid. Absolutely 100% valid. So if we get a game,
play Notre Dame.
Go play Notre Dame if they beat Clemson in the ACC title. Go play Notre Dame, and then I think we would beat Notre Dame. I'm sorry, I really do, even right now. And for all those Notre Dame fans out there, I don't really care. I think we would beat them by 2 touchdowns. But that being said, if we go and get to play another game, like you said, play Notre Dame, and then we get to take on the behemoth, the monster of Alabama. And now they're starting to show a little bit of rumors, I guess, that Saban might retire at the end of the year. So he's obviously going for a title. And if he gets the title, maybe he's like, I've done enough.
Yeah.
But what I love this is what I do love about Saban, though. Last year, people were counting him out. This dude is he's the greatest.
He's still Nick Saban. He is still Nick Saban.
Yeah, you can be mad at me all you want. He's the greatest coach in college football history.
He was still Nick Saban. He went up against a juggernaut of a team that had a great season in the same conference while his quarterback also got hurt. He's still Nick Saban.
I love Urban Meyer.
Don't call it a comeback. He was still Nick Saban.
I love Urban Meyer. He's my all-time favorite coach, but Nick Saban is the GOAT. You cannot convince me otherwise. He is a monster in college football. And when he retires, the whole SEC is going to go, oh, thank you, God.
I think it's the catch-22 in that playoff scenario because you're like you said, in order to play Notre Dame in the 2-3 spot, they can't lose to Clemson, or else they'd be the 4 probably.
Yeah. And then we're playing Clemson,
and we can't play Clemson. It's kind of catch. This stinks. We can't play Clemson in the 2-3. We can't beat Clemson.
Yeah, we can.
We can't. We've never done it.
We're going to do it.
We had a much better team than them last year.
I don't care. We're going to do it this year.
See, you said that last year, Jeremiah.
I don't care.
What you don't care?
I don't have the attitude of I'm scared.
I'm not scared. I just know what's going to happen. Like if I go fight a grizzly bear, I'm not scared.
I'll come tuck you in.
He's going to kill you.
The boogeyman's not going to get you.
The grizzly bear will eat you alive. He is 900 pounds and you are a 190-pound man. I'm not scared. Good. You're a Viking. You're a warrior. Going to go out on
Clemson is a 900-pound grizzly?
Compared to Ohio State, yes. We cannot beat them. Yeah, Name one time we've ever beat them. I'll wait. Hold on. I happen to be on my drawer full of watches here, so
yeah. Anyway, I'm not scared.
Oh, you don't like that one?
I understand.
You don't like that one?
I understand Johnny's afraid. I get it.
I got more. Watch.
Yeah.
I'll wait. You said, look, this team needs to get better, right? You'd rather play Alabama two games into the playoff than one, right? Like, because we need the reps. We need the reps.
I agreed with your logic. If we played them first, I'm not going to be scared of them. But I agree with your logic.
Well, would you not scared? But like, what do you? I'm not scared. It's just I know the outcome.
No, you're scared. You don't know the outcome of every future game. You don't know the outcome. No, you don't.
If I know who the certain opponent is, I do.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't. We're going to argue over nothing, and we're going to keep. This is my editing.
It'd be a 2-hour show of whether or not
my editing because you want to argue hypotheticals. This is ridiculous.
It's not hypothetical. Okay, non-hypothetical. Let's go scientific here.
Just somebody shoot me in the face, please, right now.
Non-hypothetical.
Where's Haskell Garrett's assailant when you need him?
Non-hypothetical. Name one time Ohio State's ever beat Clemson.
Never.
Okay. That's all.
But Woody Hayes did punch one in the face. So.
That's even more embarrassing. You're making I rest my case.
I don't care. Doesn't matter about future.
And the Vikings believe that the future was
Michigan's the all-time winningest football program. We're going to dominate us for the rest of time.
Well, we have plenty of evidence.
Yeah, we did until 2000.
Oh, so you're saying
2001. Sorry.
You're saying this is we've hit our Jim Tressel of Clemson.
I don't see why we can't beat Clemson.
Because Jim Tressel beat Michigan his first year and he called his shot. And Ryan Day, look.
So you no longer believe Ryan Day is on that mountain going, Debo, and training for him?
I do believe he is, but I just don't think it matters. Look, Ryan Day.
Okay. Here. Who won, Rocky or the Russian? I'll wait.
Rocky won.
There you go.
But
it's just the same argument.
No, because Rocky could have never took those punches in the choreographed fight. You know that's Hollywood. Listen, like you said, he punched at 2,000 PSI.
To take the 2,245 whatever PSI.
Listen, Ryan Day last year with one of the greatest Ohio State teams in history had a better team than Clemson last year.
Mm-hmm.
And a diminished Clemson roster.
They also had a better officiating crew.
Yeah. And well, I don't know we'll ever get some things I just
we lost by 6. A touchdown was literally taken off the board.
Literally. But it happened. Couldn't get it done. And now we don't have as much better.
Why are we arguing this? This is so pointless. You're hurting my head.
Because I just want you to admit you're wrong.
No,
you're always like this. I'm not scared. I'm a man. Like, okay. You're like, I'll go defend that woman's honor. Well, Cory, that's a biker gang, and you're one person. Not scared. Okay.
Yeah, it's a biker gang, and Ryan Day is Bruce Lee, so I'm not worried about it. But
Bruce Lee is 135 pounds.
I saw it. He could take out a lot of people bigger than him.
6 of them. The 8th, 10th,
talking like Ohio State, some little weakling, like the Wimpy Diaries or whatever they're called. I mean, would you stop it?
Okay, I'm not. Look, I love the Buckeyes. They're a great team.
They're clearly hate the Buckeyes.
They're a great team, and they're within.
Why are we arguing over stupid crap?
They're in spitting distance.
I got more editing to do now because you're a jerk.
You're the one. You have to edit out what you said about Haskell Garrett. You did it.
No, I ain't editing that out.
Okay, cool.
I meant what I said. Somebody shoot me in the head, please.
In the jaw, though. Just you don't want to go all the way out.
I don't know. Maybe at this point, I'm changing my mind.
Okay, look, I just had to make sure you took an L on that. And you wouldn't concede, so I had to keep it going.
I'm not going to concede. I think we can beat them.
I know you do, but you thought that last year.
So what?
So you were wrong. You're wrong then, and you're wrong now. It's science.
Somebody shoot me in the head.
Shoot me. So what? I was wrong. Not this time. Oh, okay. Okay.
Johnny's scared of Clemson. You all heard it.
Cory's a Michigan fan telling you it ain't what it is.
Yeah, I'm telling you that in the future they ain't beating us.
Okay. All right. Don't let Cory advise. I hope none of you are sports gamblers. But if you are,
he's the Scarlet of this podcast. I'm the Great. So you just go ahead.
Yeah. Don't put your money where Cory's mouth is because he won't even put his money there.
I don't gamble. No,
I don't blame you. All right. We got to get out of here. You're being ridiculous. I've tried to end the show like 11 times and you won't let me. You're being ridiculous. Okay. Cory. Good show.
Can I have one of those watches, by the way? I don't know how to tell time.
Well, I'll teach you, and then once you pass a test, a multiple choice about time and how to tell it, I might give you one. You can tell digital time, can't you?
No.
Oh, okay. We got a lot of work cut out for us. Thanks for doing the show. Before the end, it was really good, and now it's going to be good that it ended.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right, you got anything else, big dude?
Absolutely not.
I couldn't possibly think of another thing if I want. All right. This was really good for me. This is good to be back with you guys. We're going to roll some more YouTube content this week. Delusional Fan of the Week. It's show number 2. It's 8 Week, guys. As always, goodbye. God bless.